It's Lisa from Been There, Got Out. I really hope we can get today's guest on today. Her name is Anastasia, and she is a co-parenting counselor. And in many of the cases that we deal with, in order to keep people from returning back to court and in order to lower the conflict as much as possible, so there she is. I see you, Anastasia. In order to lower the parenting counseling, um, which can be really scary because a lot of us don't want to be back in a room with our ex, and we have to because we don't want to be back in court with them either. So let's see, Anastasia, I'm answering this request, but it's for some reason not letting you on here. Anyway, I can't wait. Hopefully we can get this to work, for Anastasia to share a little bit about what she does in terms of co-parenting counseling and some ways to make it as effective as possible. But for whatever reason, I can't seem to get her on here. Let me try one more time. All right, Anastasia, I don't know what's going on with the technology today, but we're super excited to hear what, oh, there.
Oh my God. I'm so sorry. I don't know what.
That's okay. That's okay. But so good to see you,
Yeah.
and thanks for coming on. So first of all, why would somebody be afraid of co-parenting counseling, do you think?
I think whenever you have to sit down and really evaluate everything that's happening, you really have to take a look at yourself and you have to be ready to do that. And sometimes that's really hard for people to take that step and realize they're either doing something they shouldn't be or they feel like they are and they just have shame around it. So I think that's one of the reasons.
Yeah, so it sounds like a lot of it has to do with accountability
Yes, for sure.
or willingness to be accountable ourselves instead of just see the world in black and white. So, Anastasia, can you formally introduce yourself and say a little bit about your background?
Sure. My name is Anastasia Arauz, and I am a therapist. I'm a coach, and I work with families. My background has always been with children and families. I was a teacher, and then a school counselor, and then I have a private practice for years. And recently, I've started my coaching and worked with families that are divorcing, separating, all of the things. So, yeah, I've had many, many years of experience in this.
So our community are people that are really just dealing with extremely difficult divorces, separations, custody battles, and co-parenting. And so often they are told as part of a court order or an agreement that going to co-parenting counseling is a good idea. And a lot of people are just like, I don't want to be in a room with my ex again. Like, I just got out of it. Can you talk about some of the misconceptions that people might have about co-parenting counseling, or the, like, I don't want to do it?
Yeah,
Like,
I
what do
think
you
you can.
see?
Yeah, it can be really hard because in those really tough, extreme, high conflict divorce, you really have to get a sense of yourself before you can get in the room with that parent. So making sure, I think a really big part of it is knowing exactly what you want, your boundaries, all of that before you step in. And also knowing what you can't control because you're not going to be able to control that other person. And trying to be okay with that. So if the judge says, yes, you have to do this co-parenting counseling, just really knowing in your nervous system and in your gut that you cannot control that person. And so going into it knowing that and just knowing that you're there for the kids, you're there because you're accomplishing a goal that you need to, that's been set for you.
How do you deal with someone who says, I don't think that this anything good is going to come out of this? Who goes in initially saying it's not going to work. We just spent 4 years in litigation and now here we are again. My ex never agrees to anything. Why am I here?
Right. So then maybe so what I would do with that is I think it becomes an individual process. You can't make someone do
Mhm.
something, right? And I've actually lived in a co-parenting relationship myself for years. And it is something that every every instance is so different. Every family is so different. You have to, your main priority has to be those kids and what's best for those kids. So you have to look at it holistically. Like, what is going to work for my kids? Do I need to be in this room for my kids? So knowing what you stand for, what your beliefs and all that is, but really the bottom line is those children and what's healthy for them. and trying to look past the other parts of it the best you can, even if the person is awful, is never going to agree with you. What are you doing there to help your children? Like, what is the ultimate goal for those kids?
Is there a difference between a parenting coordinator versus a co-parenting counselor?
For me, I do not know. From the court system,
Yeah.
I would think the parenting coordinator would be helping you with that coordination of what the parent would do in very specific situations. The counselor is going to really get into that nitty gritty of the beliefs around parenting and the
Oh, okay.
beliefs around, like, what are both of your thoughts on it? What are your thoughts on um, going to church or whatever it is, like the beliefs around the whole parenting as a family, how
Mhm.
you're going to use that.
In co-parenting counseling, does the co-parenting counselor have the ability to make decisions or not? Because I think that's a fear we see a lot is I don't want to go into co-parenting counseling because I'm going to get pressured to do what my ex wants.
No, and I think you have to remember that the counselor should be very objective, right? And if you're in a situation where that counselor is not, you're probably not in the best counseling situation. A counselor is there to be objective and to listen to both sides and to not judge or push either way and not have an opinion about it. And again, your goal, you really have to get out of that part about yourself and think about what those kids, what are the kids needing right now? And hopefully that counselor is helping you see that through your sessions with them.
Okay. One of the things that unfortunately we've seen a bit is when people are in co-parenting counseling, the same power dynamic starts to happen,
Mhm.
and there's a level of disrespect, and they get very upset that the co-parenting counselor isn't making it stop. Do you ever have situations where somebody starts screaming at the other one, and how do you handle it?
Yeah, that's really tough. So at that point, if it gets to be that conflicted within that session, you're going to have to ask that person to leave. You're going to have to take a break. You're going to have to get everyone on the same page because no one's going to hear anything if one person is screaming at the other. Because at that point, everyone is in that fight flight mode of talking, and so there's nothing that's going to get accomplished. So if you're looking for a counselor that is going to do this, you need to make sure it's someone that is able to hold the room and really
Mhm.
has the understanding of what they are going to be dealing with and knowing how to structure those sessions so both people feel safe.
Yeah. I'm just writing that down because I want to remember that line, hold the room.
Yeah.
Um, do you ever do you ever have kids participate in co-parenting counseling?
It would really depend, right? So it's going to depend on the developmental age of the child, their physical age, like how are they dealing with it all? What's it going to look like? Is it going to be a safe space for them emotionally? Is it going to be a place that they need to be? I think the question would be, why would you want them there? It could be
Mhm.
effective, right? Like it could be very effective if both parents are able to get to a place where they are talking and able to come up with some ideas with the kids. It could work, right? But it would really have to be a safe space. The counselor would really have to know that that child isn't going to be walking into something that's going to be abusive or harmful to
Mhm.
them.
Yeah. Are there certain things that people should think about or questions to ask when they're deciding on how to choose a co-parenting counselor? Like what kinds of things should they be looking for?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think someone that's experienced, that's done this before, that you need. And what's really cool about like Google and all those things is really reading reviews, going in and looking to see like how many times has this person done this? What is the experience they have with it? Then interviewing that counselor. I think we think that all counselors know what they're talking about, or
Mhm.
all therapists, or all people. They don't. And so really interviewing them, how are they going to be able to handle a situation like you mentioned? How have they handled it in the past? What are their thoughts on co-parenting in general? Just really getting a feel, is this person a good fit for me? So thinking of it as like you're picking someone to you're solving an issue for your family, so you're interviewing them to find out, like, is this a good fit for my beliefs, for what we want for our family?
Mhm. And is this a relationship that somebody already knows they're going to have co-parenting counseling for an amount of time, or is it where they just decide and this can go on indefinitely?
It depends on each family. Again, I do think that it needs to be structured, and I think there should be probably some set sessions so it doesn't go on indefinitely. There needs to be goals set. And so when you're doing those initial meetings with the therapist, or like you're setting goals, you're setting things that are supposed to be happening with your family. And so as you're moving through, say you set 6 sessions, okay, we're going to accomplish these things. If you find that it's not working or these goals are not being met, is this the right person for you that's solving these issues for you? Or do you need to go and find a new person? And so that's, and it's hard because you don't want to have to start all over again and tell the whole history and go through it all. So
Yeah.
really trying to pick the person that's really going to work with you initially. And that's why you need someone that's experienced, that has done this, that isn't keeping you in a room for a year and things aren't being accomplished.
Yeah. I'm thinking of one of our clients right now. They're in the process of so this person is trying to get custody back after supervised visitation. And the co-parenting counselor is saying that the other side isn't agreeing to it right now. And so she doesn't want to keep working with the couple because she said, if you're not going to come to the same or a similar space in terms of this agreement, then I can't do anything. Do you ever have situations where parents are not screaming at each other, but they're not anywhere on the same page about what's supposed to happen moving forward? And how do you work with people who are, in really different places?
Yeah, that's really tough. Yes, definitely. I have seen cases like that, and that's a really tough situation. So it's either you have to go back to court if it's something that you want to really push the issue on, or you have to let it go, or you have to figure. I mean, really, it's getting the only sometimes the only way things are going to get accomplished is getting back in court and having that judge make the decision. And if you have someone that is so strong on their decision and they don't care what you're saying or what you've done to get your custody back, it's you're not going to probably convince them. A
Mm-hmm.
counselor's not going to convince them, so it's going to most likely have to go back to
Yeah,
court.
that's exactly what sounds like is going on in this situation. Um, let's see, what was I going to say? I can't remember. How do you know? Oh, I should say, how can someone be like really effective, like really helpful in co-parenting counseling? Like, how can someone be a good client?
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's, I mean, probably just when I think about a good client. So that would be someone that's willing to listen to both sides, right? Their
Mhm.
partner or their ex-partner, they're willing to listen to the counselor and the therapist and what their ideas and what their thoughts are in the situation. It's being open-minded because whenever you're going through something like this, the other side, it's not going to always look great, all the different choices that you have.
Mhm.
So trying to be open-minded in that, yeah, this really does stink, but I'm going to have to give a little. I'm going to have to give and take at some point. And
So
I always try to tell,
flexibility.
yeah, flexibility. And I always try to
Mhm.
tell parents, you, like I was saying at the beginning, you cannot control the other person. And I think that's so hard for us because maybe you're a parent that is really like you have a child that you want them to eat certain foods. You don't want them eating red dyes or you don't want them eating all of the sugar because you know what it does to them. But then they go to the other parent's house and that's what the parent gives them. That's tough, right? Because you know that's going to change their personality, that's going to change their behavior, but you don't have any control over that. And so that's something that's really tough to let go.
Mhm.
Um, but you're going to have to. And then maybe you're because most of the time you're not convincing that other person to listen to anything you have to say.
Mhm.
And so it's at that, yeah, because you're not going to get a judge to say either. Most of the time you can't force them to feed only healthy food.
Mhm.
So those are things I hear. Sometimes that's like one of them, especially when it comes to foods or medications, even schooling. I mean, I've heard all of the different ones about a parent not um, following the routine or the plan. And it's even school. I mean, I've had parents where the parent necessarily didn't take them to school on time.
Mhm.
They would get them to school late every day. And that is really frustrating as a mom or a dad when you're like, I want my kid, but there's really nothing you can do about it.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I was thinking some of the things you just mentioned, like regarding diet, that's not considered legally major decisions. And usually with a parenting coordinator, you can only talk about major decisions, like big things. But it sounds like co-parenting counseling is that nitty-gritty stuff, like things that a court wouldn't care about. They don't want to hear it. They say, figure it out
Yeah.
yourself. So that's really what the role of this is.
Yeah, it is. I think that's great. That's a great explanation. It's really, yeah, getting into the nitty gritty, talking about those little things that are really important, but the court isn't focused. It's not abuse, right?
Mhm.
It's not those really tough things that they don't want happening. but they're also really important things to help your child stay regulated and educated and the things that they need.
Yeah. So when people are ordered to go to co-parenting counseling, is there anything you can say to make them feel hopeful that this might work?
Yeah, I mean, I think time heals, right? So as time goes on, right, and everyone kind of has time to process what's happening, things can change. I mean, things can change. And I think you have to have hope, right? And just hope in time and just doing the best that you can, giving yourself grace in the midst of this is really important. But remembering too is that you're doing this for your child. And so, what is the best? You're going in there to solve issues to make your child the best human they can be, right? So I think that's what the bottom line is always thinking about how am I going to help my child and how is this me going here helping my child?
Yeah. So it's remembering what the goal is and who the goal is, and that
Yeah.
it's not always being right, but it's figuring out something that can really help your child as best as possible. So,
Yeah.
Anastasia, how can people find you?
Yeah, of course. So I'm on Instagram here. You can definitely find me here. My website, anastasiaarauz.com. You can find me there. Those are the two easiest ways. Always, I respond to emails through both of those.
Okay, good. Well, thank you so much. I'm sorry we had a little tech issue at the beginning, but I'm
Thank you.
glad that that you've been able to shed a little bit of light on this and to make people understand that it's not necessarily a death sentence to sit in a room with your ex, and to really think about what this is for and who this is for. And if there's anything that people can do to be a better parent, why wouldn't you want to?
Yeah. That, and I think we forget when we're in the midst of it, right? It is so hard because this is your life and it's falling apart from what you wanted it to be when you got married. And we forget that it's now about the kids. It's not about us anymore. And it's so hard to remember that because we're emotional too. And that's why I think it's really important to get your individual help as much as possible. Because when you're in that co parenting counseling, it's really about the kids, it's really about them, not you um, at all, really. It's really helping them.
Yeah, maybe they should change the name.
Yeah, maybe.
You know?
That might be a reframe.
Right, right. All right, well, thank you so much, Anastasia.
You're welcome.
All
Thank you
right,
for having me.
you're welcome. Okay, take care.
Bye.
Bye.